Morning, 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 everybody. Hello, hello, hello. I am delighted to be joined by three of the best, the greatest. We have David Mintz, we have Harry Truman, we have Sophie Lang. Hello, everybody. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Good, thanks.
I'm good, thanks.
If I'm honest, that's a bit down.
Should we try again? Let's do a Mexican wave. Harry, you start.
Okay.
I mean, if we want to just shrug our shoulders.
1, 2, 3, go.
Yeah, there we are. Look, this isn't the estate agency podcast. This is where the good stuff happens. Come on. Right, okay. We're here today to talk about PropX and the Propertymark Trust. And we're talking about how you lovely three are going to be a central part of it on the day. Can we just kick off just so that everybody, I think, understands first and foremost what the Propertymark Trust is about and is trying to deliver for the industry? If that's who wants to take that one on?
Well, I'll pass to our current president, Propertymark president, handle that one.
Okay. Thanks, Soph.
Well, hot potatoed.
So the Propertymark Trust is a property mark that is set up to support Propertymark members, member firms, the people who work there and their families when they are going through some really tough times and they've really reached rock bottom. So we support people who have significant health issues, mental health issues, who might have gotten themselves into financial trouble. And we're really there to just provide some help and support to people when they really need it. We also have an educational arm as well. So we provide grants for people who can't afford to get qualified, or their companies can't afford for them either, because we think that everyone should have access to qualifications. So we sort of have two arms. Which is helping people when they really need it, and the educational side. But we say that we are the property industry's best kept secret. We've only recently started ramping up our marketing, and so for a long time nobody really knew what we did, but we are out there now and we want to tell people what we do and we want to help more people.
Don't worry about that, Harry. Kerfuffle's been going 5 years now, and very few people know about us as well, so you're in the right place. And so this is people who have hit a bit of a tough time. Obviously, they're not that down on their luck that they've had to go into PropTech yet, but there's always that potential. How prevalent an issue is it? I mean, obviously, just like in every walk of life, there are going to be people that do hit personal issues. They hit those financial things there. How did this? Was it just the continual feedback that was being given to Propertymark that this was an issue that made you guys feel it needed something separate? How did it kind of spark itself off?
Well, the trust sorry, you go, Soph.
No, I think it was about 10 years ago, wasn't it? John Oakley set it up, and it was for a need at the time around qualifications was its main focus for people who wanted to get qualified, were new to the industry and wanted to get that step up. But either employers wouldn't support them because obviously 10 years ago, qualifications definitely weren't on the forefront of most agencies' mind, especially employers. And people wanted to step up that ladder, and that's kind of how it began, and it's evolved over the years, and then they rebranded in 22 and in the last year they've expanded and trying to get the name out there a lot more.
And can I just jump in and say, I think also what makes this, it's sometimes a bit counterintuitive when you say that there's a charity for estate agents. And on one occasion when I was promoting it, I did get a comment from a member of the public like, "Oh, what do you lot need a charity for? You make plenty of money." And I think it's a very common misconception that because seemingly, the prices of houses are high, etc., that every agent is a financial success. I think we all know that that's not true. And I think the job also comes with unique pressures that affect mental health in a very different way to some other industries, in terms of the public face that you have to put on a day-to-day, and then what's bubbling under the surface. So I think to find support for estate agents could only be done by estate agents, in my opinion.
You're absolutely spot on there as well, aren't you? The public are almost intrinsically link property prices increasing with agents just doing fabulously well. They don't understand the downward pressure on fees and all those different elements rising. You know, the cost of living crisis has hit businesses just as much as it's hit individuals as well. Not least with some suppliers hitting 20% plus above inflation. And that's all I'm saying on the matter. I haven't checked yet. They're not sponsors, are they? In which case, I will just withdraw from this podcast.
They're not sponsors.
Okay, good. Okay, well, yeah. So there you are. Get involved for the next one, guys. Show you're part of the industry, not just servicing it. You did a brilliant campaign though recently over the last couple of months, Harry, in terms of you talk about being the best kept secret, and I think like many of these things, you know, it does just take time to get out there, doesn't it? People like agents together, of course, you know, it needs it to get build ahead of steam and everything else to get along there. But I mean, one thing that I just thought right out the traps that was fantastic. Just talk to us as well about the initiative about the orphan funds, because that's been quite well. It's really innovative, isn't it? Going to the CRM providers, looking at people from the letting side of things. Do you want to just sort of talk about that, because I think that's really impressive.
Yeah, I think one of the things you'll know if you run a letting agent is that you will have a sum of money that you can class as orphan funds, especially if you've been going a long time. There will be money held in your client accounts that is not yours as an agency. You can't have it, but it is client funds, and it's client funds that you can't trace anymore, or you know, you can't get hold of. There's always going to be that in letting agencies because we hold that deposit money, and ultimately what happens is that money just stays in the accounts until you can release it to charity. You can release it to charity after a certain amount of years. And what we've been doing is working with the CRM providers in order to identify what that orphan funds is, and then to be able to release it to the trust if you wanted to, where it can go and do some good. It's much better to be, you know, provided to a charity where it can go help people than just sit in your client accounts doing nothing. So that's quite a new thing that we have recently been working on, and I don't think many agencies know about it, because there's so many agencies who sit there thinking, what are we going to do with these funds that we can't have? It's not our money, but we don't know if we can release it, if we can, you know, what we can do with it. So yeah,
it was one of the main reasons I was going to open up a lettings agency until I realized I wasn't allowed to get access to those orphan funds. But the industry has been saved its largest image problem with me getting involved. But you've just highlighted there, haven't you? What a fantastic way that something that is there that can actually help people out anyway and draw attention, obviously, to this issue. So, and I think it's been quite well received by the CRM companies as well, hasn't it? Which is fantastic.
They've been really, really good about it, and I think it's an easy win for them. It allows the agent to sort of clear up that client account, and for the CRM company, they're enabling more charitable giving, and I think everybody just wins as a result of it. And it's been, you know, sometimes where you come up with an idea and then people go, oh no, we're not interested in doing that. Everybody has been quite warm and receptive to it, so it's everyone's got the right attitude, I think, amongst the suppliers.
The Propertymark Trust have a unique thing with Orphan Fund, because you can obviously release to any charity, it's just charity, but the Propertymark Trust guarantee that money. So if down the line someone does come back and say, hello, you've got my deposit from 10 years ago, you legally have to give it back. So the trust do guarantee that money to go back, so you don't have to find it from your own pocket, which you'd have to do generally with other charities, which gives it a bit of a layer of security for people to know they can donate it and know that there's something in place for if someone does come back to claim that money in the future.
Yeah. So it's a fantasy. So anybody who wants to get involved, whether that's a CRM company or an agency, they can just reach out to you guys in the normal way and just find out a little bit more information on that. Dave, will we be posting some links back to the website or something afterwards when we will do. Fantastic. Right. Okay. So that kind of sets the stall in terms of there. But let's talk about the big event itself. So in a couple of weeks' time, Friday the 20th of September, I think I'm right in saying.
So can I just start by saying that, you know how I did that little bit at Agents Giving about the crazy ways that people put themselves through absolute hell to raise money for charity?
And to be honest, I was quite impressed. You know, I hear a lot from you on a daily basis, but you even stood out for me that day.
Thank you very much. A rare bit of praise there.
You're always asking for feedback.
But there are crazy ways. So, you know, Harry's going to run a 10K later on this morning, just for the hell of it. But people do put themselves into, you know, extreme challenges. And can I add to that list of extreme challenges, organizing a conference as well, please?
Oh, wow. I hold my hands up to people that do this as a job and hold up, because we were just kind of a group of people with an idea. I mean, the original concept was actually the brainchild of Megan 18 and Toby Martin were the original.
I've heard of those guys.
You heard?
Yeah, they're on the radar. They're quite big on social media, aren't they? Those two.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But it was their brainchild. They came up with this idea of TED Talks for the industry, and it's grown from there. But we've been a group of people that have, you know, we've organised probably landlord seminars and, you know, little things that we do, but nothing on this scale. And we've thrown ourselves into it, and it has been really challenging. When I say blood, sweat, and tears has gone into this event, there is absolutely no exaggeration.
maybe you should call that as a working title for it. Blood, Sweat and Tears, the Blood, Sweat and Tears conference.
It sounds like an album in the 80s. Yeah, so we've really thrown, and it is a challenge. I think David's highlighted, like, it is a challenge, but
we really aren't the type of people who would. We don't have backgrounds in organising conferences, so it's been 5 of us who have been sort of trying our best to pull this together, and there have been literal blood, sweat, and tears. And Sophie's not even a crier, and even Sophie's been crying. So
yeah, you know. Don't cry. I didn't cry at the birth of my children or my wedding. My husband's extremely disappointed to see me cry over a conference.
Well, that's cold. That's cold. Okay.
But those are I think those are the practical challenges, but I think it really is a unique way to raise money for a charity by having a conference of this kind. And it's, you know, Whaley, you and I are more familiar with destroying conferences rather than creating them. But
yin and yang, you know, someone has to create, someone has to knock it down.
That's it. And
I am looking forward to attending on the day. So if that hasn't added their nervousness,
we'll be looking out for you. We've got some security guards looking for you.
I just reckon you've given me the wrong venue. That's the way I've been thinking.
Yeah, no, you enjoy Cardiff. It's a lovely city. So I think that when you look at conferences, there are those conferences where it's all about booze and awards. There are those conferences that have a little bit of pretense of education in the morning, and it's booze and awards in the afternoon and evening. And I think we probably saw with things like other smaller conferences, such as the Women in Estate Agency conference, there is a space as well for a conference that gives you something other than just a reason to turn up in a trophy. And I think we hope that people will leave this conference inspired and empowered. But I'm going to let Harry and Sophie tell you a little bit about some of the speakers, because I think there are some amazing topics and amazing life experiences that are going to be sharing.
I think the thing I'm most excited about is the fact that although some of the faces you may have seen before, or you know them because of the circles we all run in, but the speakers are really putting themselves out there and being really vulnerable. The majority of the speakers are doing a lot of wellness pieces, and they're talking about their personal life that not a lot of people know about, that they haven't been open about. But the thought is that we all have struggles, and if you go up on stage and talk about them, then it will inspire people in the room, because they may have gone through those struggles or experienced them and know they're not alone. So I'm really excited. You're going to see a lot of the names on the billboard you're going to see them in a slightly different light, which is very exciting.
Yeah, there is going to be some elements of business talks. There is going to be some takeaways that you can take back and put into your estate agency or letting businesses. But there's also going to be a lot of talks about wellness as well, and inspiration as well. I think that's why we were talking about why should an employer send their teams there. And not only is there things to inspire your teams to go back and really perform and achieve, but there's also some business tips as well. There's a lot that people are going to take from this conference. So we'll be really interested to hear afterwards the sort of key elements that people have taken away from it.
Yeah, I mean, we've got powerhouses on the stage of people who run businesses who do so. Obviously, we've got Harry is one of our speakers. She is on stage, and obviously she has run some great businesses and is a massive inspiration for a lot of people. And she's going to talk about how she's done that. And then you've got people like John Paul, who has he's already a mentor and he does coaching, but he's going up there to show how you can get your business or the business you work in or get the best from you. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of takeaways for employees and business owners, because that's what we wanted to aim at, because a lot of conferences are aimed at the PPD and that's great, but I feel employees also need that kind of inspiration and space, and that's kind of what this is all about as well.
I think there's, as you said there, isn't it? And look, I wouldn't have been able to not mention it, obviously being as metrosexual as I am, to obviously talk about what the Women in the State Agency Conference did so, ably fitting that niche and obviously really mixing it up in terms of a very different style. There's obviously, look, there's the behemoth, the big events out there which have very much done their own thing and everything else, but I didn't know whether I was going to suggest, and I didn't know whether I was going to be lazy by describing it as a TED Talk style fashion PropX. But I think there's a real reason why the TED Talks have absolutely exploded and delivered, isn't it? Because that approach really resonates with a lot of people, and to be able to, sometimes at the larger events, perversely, there seems to be less speakers, so they tend to seem to be a larger profile. But then if they don't float your boat, or they, it's all very well them being inspirational. It's great to see from Olympians and everything else there, but ultimately, taking yourself out of the business is a commitment of time, energy, and for the business and for the business itself. So it's wonderful to be able to take away things that you can deliver back in there, because there is definitely a real thing where business owners get business guilt by attending events, don't they? It's like, I feel like I've got to take something away from this. And so, look, just going through, obviously, we'll go through a few of those in a minute. I don't think you can possibly, unless you're not paying attention on the day, come away with something that 2-3 ideas at the very least that you're going to be able to implement in your business that will make a material difference over the course of the next few weeks and months following on from that.
Yeah, and if one speaker doesn't float your boat, the great thing about this is that they are 15 to 20 minutes. So, if you have the attention span that many people in the estate agency world do seem to have, that if, somebody gets up and they're not for you, then you've only got 15 minutes to wait till the next person. So I think the format that we've worked on should really appeal to a wide variety of people and mean that lots of people will be able to take something from it. There hopefully won't be too many bored people in the audience.
No, just don't start doing this to David when he's going through one of his other analogies.
Well, it's actually my job on the day to keep everybody else moving along. So,
and I'm in the background with a stopwatch that will.
You know what I'll be doing, Simon? I have a set sort of piece for conferences. I turn up, I sweat a lot, I towel off in between speakers, and I'm back on stage again.
Wow, if that hasn't encouraged them, I don't know. I don't even know
what I will say is it can be very daunting for people going into big conferences. And so sometimes people like to sort of buddy up with others because yes, it is lovely to walk into a room where some people will know you, but it can also be a lot for some people. So the ticket deal that we currently have for PropX allows you to bring a friend, a buddy, a colleague, anyone, someone you like, someone you hate. Doesn't really matter. Just bring them for free, and the code is beneath this post.
Great stuff.
About tickets, one of the things that was important to us was obviously this is a charity. And we are there for people who are in financial hardship. And so we kept the ticket level so we can cover costs. And obviously it is a charity event. But we also have had some very generous people donate tickets. So they bought tickets for someone to go. So I just wanted to reach out. Anybody who feels this is up their street or knows someone who could get a lot from this, please reach out to us, because we have had some very kind people donate tickets. And we want everyone to get as much from this as possible. So please reach out to us because we do have an allocation of donated tickets that we can allocate. So for anyone who feels that they will really want something from this, I think it's great that we've got that, and people have been so generous.
Also, We couldn't be on the Kerfuffle podcast without mentioning that we have a load of suppliers that are going to be there as well, that have also very kindly supported the event and will be there. So we've carefully handpicked these suppliers. These are the cream of the crop in the supplier world.
Yeah.
So they are going to be there to talk to people in the breaks, to see if they can provide some tech solutions for people. So it's not just about the speakers. There will be suppliers there. I hope they've got some top merch, because that's my main thing at conferences, is getting the merch. There's lots of reasons to book a ticket if you haven't already got one.
And I'm glad you and thanks for reading out my notes there about obviously introducing the suppliers. But no, obviously I was literally about to just jump in. I think it's really telling, isn't it? We talk about obviously the way that public see agents, and I always giggle a little bit when you lot obviously start talking about the public who are being unfair there, because there's a certain degree of that when applied to suppliers as well. But actually, the suppliers that come to events like this and do back it, and you can have a win-win in terms of doing the right things, from a charity perspective, and actually getting a halo effect as well. I don't believe any of these businesses are doing it purely for that halo effect, but to just go out of the way and put their money where their mouth is to back something like this says a lot. Because as we know, it's not like we're coming into conference season now where I'll probably be testing my health again over the next few months. There are a lot of different events to get involved with. So for these guys to get out there, we can name a few of them, can't we? I think Street Group are out there, PayProp, Rent Guarantor, Face for Business, Heather from Streets talking as well, I believe. Is that?
Yeah, so I think with some of the suppliers, we've actually got some of the suppliers talking, but they're not selling. They are there to add that. For instance, Heather's going to be talking about 8 innovations in 8 minutes, all that sort of stuff, actionable stuff that you can take away. And you don't need to buy anything, and they're not there to sell their system to you, but it's more how they run their businesses. If you can take inspiration from that, then all the better.
But just to be clear, you're still remembering to wear that QR top where they can book in a That's it.
Yeah, at any point, you just come over and scan my QR code.
Oh, lovely. Brilliant. Okay, so fantastic. Obviously, great there from the suppliers. And again, we'll give a great shout out to them as well from there. Can we just have a little bit of a walk through of the day then? Because I was looking at it, and as I said, there is a lot going on there, isn't it? Rather than maybe go through every single one there, could you just talk through a couple of the ones that you're looking forwards to over the course of the day and what they're going to be covering off? Who wants to kick us off?
Well, Sophie's just done the programme, so she is an expert on the running order.
I am an expert.
What I like there, Harry, is she gave you the hot potato earlier. If it's not mixing analogies, you've battered that back across to her. Well done. Oh, you've lost David. So David clearly is now having a look at the agenda for the day.
I've looked at it. It's pretty good. I'm in.
You're in, yeah.
Considering he's our host, he should know this by now. But yeah, no, we've got some really good. We've put it into 4 sections.
Okay.
And really made sure it's mixed up with topics, business, wellness, and that there's enough breaks so obviously everyone can go speak to the suppliers and get around and network and meet one another. I was going to say I'm really proud of our industry putting this together, because the suppliers have been so supportive. Considering this is a brand new event that's never run before for a charity, they've been so supportive of us. I love our community. Our property community is great. But speakers wise, we do have the practical takeaways business. We've got Megan 18 and Toby Martin obviously going up on stage about social media and branding, which is a really hot topic. People really are struggling with trying to get onto that one. We're seeing it more and more, but it's interesting. We've also got the lovely Harry talking about how to get the most out of your business and looking at profit, turnover, cash.
Yeah.
We've got one I'm interested in. I know we announced it was a bit of a controversial one, but we've got Daniel Daggers, which
you've got my interest here. Yeah.
So we've got Daniel Daggers. So obviously that was a bit of a coup for us. We were looking for a person who no one's really seen on stage before. He's just come off the back of obviously Selling London on Netflix, and it has caused ructions because obviously everyone is very opinionated, which is understandable. I think we're interested to hear from him because, I mean, you can have your own opinions on a Netflix show. Netflix isn't made to be a documentary about real life. Netflix is meant for viewership. But Daniel has come from a very poor background to be in the, as he calls himself, super prime market. So it's going to be really interesting to hear from him and see him, instead of looking through the Netflix show and that persona that's been put on camera, to see him on stage, and he is going to be doing more of a question and answer kind of style section, which I think will be really interesting.
It is. Sophie, I'm going to have to do this. It's Whaley's name drop moment. So I am fascinated on this one because when I was in LA and I met the stars of Selling the OC and Selling Tampa, I genuinely went into a Peter Knight event over there with Josh Fegan, and Danny managed to get us in to see, is it Jason Oppenheimer there? I hadn't seen any of these ones there. So, of course, I did what I always did, which was read the summary review and then go in there pretending that I knew everything there. And I turned full circle around because I genuinely hated the people and the way that they'd done it, you know. And as you said, these shows are meant to spark those emotions, aren't there? And when you actually see the cold, and I mean calculating in a good way, that they see, how can you possibly compete when you have the backing of you know, the TV marketing behind it and everything else? And whilst they are going through that TV production style of things there, they're getting all that fantastic exposure, everything. And I genuinely thought, could this work and make that work over here? So I think from my point of view, to understand from Daniel's point of view, whether he thought it was all worth it and everything else, I think he's going to be, it's going to be the ones I'm tuning into. And I think you guys did it as well at Propertymark, wasn't it? Who was it that described his jewelry as crap? Ratner's one. You know, I mean, it's not like he wasn't contentious enough in his day, was it? So I think there's always room for people like that, isn't there, to bring a bit of.
I think you know what's nice about all of these talks and all the speakers is, and what makes it slightly different from other conferences is vulnerability, really, because I think everybody's going to be getting up on stage, and rather than just standing there in their power pose, going, "I'm the best," and if you follow me, you're going to be the best. This is more about, I'm like you. You're like me, we've had some challenges, but this is how you get over it, and this is what I've taken from it. And I think that vulnerability is universal. I think we've all got it. Even Whaley sometimes loses his self-confidence.
I do. Whenever I get an HR complaint, I'll be honest, I don't really know how to deal with it. So
it's about once a week. But I think that vulnerability is what sort of binds, is that thread that runs through all the speakers here, and in terms of the very rich experience that they're going to be offering to people. We've got other speakers such as Rob Brady, who is going to be talking on a topic that needs a trigger warning with it. But these are very, very important topics that people need to hear about, because there is that commonality there.
Yeah, I think the other speakers that I'm really interested to hear from, I already know their story, but we actually have some people who are going to be talking on stage with Whaley that we have helped, that the trust has actually helped. So I think it's going to be really powerful, them sharing their story and, you know, what went wrong for them, and then the way the trust helped them. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think that's going to be a great session. So
Harry, can I just ask, this is for all of you really, and going back to what Propertymark has been trying to do in Women in the Estate Agency, do you think that ultimately having these kind of events and coming out consistently do it, do you think it does have a cumulative effect there in making people much more able to deal with these issues and realize that they aren't alone? I think it can do, can't it, ultimately, that awareness?
Yeah, because I think it makes you feel that you're not alone in these situations, that it's not, it's, you know, there shouldn't be anything ashamed of going through tough times. We all do, and there's always, you know, our lives are full of peaks and troughs, and I think the more that we can be open about the particular troughs, not just always talking about the great stuff, talk about the stuff that's well, then it makes people feel less alone, and it makes you feel like there's people around you that will be able to help you and support you and get you back on your feet. So yeah, I definitely think the rise in this, you can even see it on, you know, on LinkedIn. People, it's not all, LinkedIn's not all a, you know, a big I am anymore. People are being much more on there, and it's actually those sorts of posts that have more engagement, that have more people involved in them, because people are like, yeah, okay, yeah, we're the same, we all go through this. So definitely I think we've seen a change in the behavior of agents, which is good to see.
And it's because it's one of those industries where we're all, it doesn't matter whether you're an agent, a supplier, an organization, or even a conference organizer, there's a certain element of we're always looking over our shoulder at the competition, and we're always worried about what our competitors know, think, and feel. And I think to be able to sort of check that, get rid of it for a day, and just really be open and say, you know, it doesn't matter, we're all here for one common cause. To me, that's what makes this particular one really special.
And you've got two interesting guys kicking off, obviously, in the morning. You've got Chris Webb looking at, what's he calling it, your unfair advantage as well. Obviously, he's been at, you know, hugely successful businesses and spreading some of that knowledge around. And what my particular favourite, although not at the dinner table because he has such a fussy eating style, it's impossible to get ordered within an hour, Mr. Ledbetter. Obviously, looking at, honestly, I didn't know there was that many food allergies.
He's allergic to beans, isn't he, or something? Or
it's insane. I mean, it's great for me because I just get to have everything. But he's always good value, isn't he, at these events in terms of delivering that marketing expertise and everything else there.
Yeah, he's a good speaker. He's really engaging. We wanted people that would engage the audience and give him the opportunity. But yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing from Simon. I did his course. I think all of us have done it, have we not? But he's a really engaging speaker. I think he's going to give us a lot of information in a very short period of time.
But I do have a personal favourite. Sharka Wild is going to be talking about firewalking.
Okay.
And it's my personal favourite because he doesn't know this, but it's my great pleasure to announce live on air, I've signed Whaley up for doing some firewalking.
Yeah, brilliant. And do you know,
the most flammable person in the industry.
I saw Toby do this with Sarka, and I know Sarka quite well from various events and everything else. And I deliberately didn't post in there doing it because I thought that some smart ass might come back and say, you know what, Whaley? Well, fine. If you want to hear the smell of bacon burning, that's absolutely fine. We will do that. And brilliant. couldn't be happier. You need to keep challenging it. Not on the day, though, just to be clear.
No, not on the day. There is a whole sort of build up to it, and it's all about mindset. It's all about mind over matter. You cannot just turn up on the day and expect to walk across those coals. This is
we'll see about
a bit more than that, Whaley. A bit more.
I just want to see how it applies, you know, because there is a little bit of a thing, and I've always said this at every kind of conference I've been to for the last 30 years. You'll listen to sort of you know, Dame Kelly talk about the Olympics or whatever else there, and they said, and this is how it feeds back into property management. You're like, what? That doesn't make sense to me. So I do want Sarka to bring this back to me in terms of how this is relevant to everyday life. Look, if everybody after I've walked on coals knows what Kerfuffle does, then we've achieved.
You can do it, Whaley. We believe in you.
Thank you. I noticed you didn't sign yourself up though. Can I use that bring a friend thing we've just been talking about?
We'll do it together. Hand in hand.
I'll tell you what, I don't mind paying for that one. There you are. So that's fine. Yeah, okay. So brilliant. Well, so I haven't dodged that as much as I thought I was. Okay, so the venue's it's Birmingham.
Yeah, Birmingham Millennium Point, which is another unique event. We've got a massive in the auditorium. It's a massive IMAX. It's an ex-IMAX cinema.
Okay.
So it's a pretty impressive stage. David's looking forward to being on that one. Are you know?
I am. You can all look down on me from the gallery there. I think we all know that there's a lot of there's sometimes that trap of London centricity that falls into conferences, and I think as we are all about trying to make this conference accessible to the people that perhaps don't normally get to go there, We have plonked it bang in the middle of the country in a very central point. So Birmingham Millennium Point's really easy for everybody to get to. If you're in London, come and see how the rest of us live further down north. And if you're on the other side of the country, have a bit of a drive up. And we've got agents that are coming from all over the UK for this, and they're very excited about it.
You couldn't be any better connected there, especially now from the north where you've got HS2 that obviously I think you can get you down from just like half an hour from Manchester. So
yeah, it's been a huge success.
It's great, that, isn't it? So I tell you what needs to happen here, though, is, and you're absolutely right, whenever there is an event in obviously down in that there London, all the northern agents start moaning. It's, why don't we ever get any events there? And when we hold events up north, lots of them don't turn up. So it is a case of use it or lose it there. It's very easy to get to, whether that's train, plane, or obviously anything else down there. And I think this is such an important day as well, isn't it? So a couple of weeks to get together. Just give us an idea, where do the prices start from in terms of the actual ticket prices? It's not. I mean, we're not talking big bucks here, are we?
£109.
So it's like a Greg's lunch.
Exactly. And
it's like a couple of steak bakes and a Coke. Yeah.
Just to show where I'm at. Yeah, okay. So, I mean, look, you've got no excuses, have you? Yeah, time out, but you're going to get it. I think Megan posted it there before. I've been lucky enough to see Joe Gordon from Spectre and Street as well. He's been coming out on the RAN regionals as well. And I think, what's his one? It's eight innovations in 8 minutes. And I've seen a little bit of what they're doing there. I mean, obviously we know what those guys are up to. That's what I'm very much looking forward to as well, just on that side of things. So I think there's a lot to be done there. So guys, obviously, how are you going to? Is this going to be a regular thing, or is that too early to say? Do I need to ask you at 4:45 on the Friday?
If I can speak on behalf of all the group, I think they need some time to reflect and unwind after this event. And perhaps none of us will actually speak to any of the rest of us again for at least a month. I think we could do with a bit of silence.
I think we'd be crying in a dark corner for quite a while.
David sent me a text saying, I don't think we should speak for at least 12 months, which was nice.
He does that. He's quite hurtful in many ways, Sophie, so I'm not surprised.
All I'm saying is that, absence makes the heart grow fonder. And I've had a lot of these people over the last few months. That's all I'm saying.
David, are you really sick of us already?
I have been. Do you know what it is? And
you know you lot are live, don't you?
No. I don't mind sharing this with the rest of the industry, where you've got people like Toby and Megan and Harry and Sophie, and they are so talented, and they don't stop working. Literally, don't stop working. So they work full days, and then they're still posting in the group at night about what they're finishing work on a brochure or on designing the conference, and they've spoken to this one and that one. I just don't know where they find the energy, and if anything, it just makes me feel a little bit inferior that I don't have that. They're amazing, and my hats off to them.
And you should feel that inferiority. If I'm
I felt it. I know where I'm lacking. I'll turn up on the day, do a bit of presenting, and make it look like it was a lot of work, but truly they've done all the heavy lifting in the background, and I think that is I think the trust is extremely lucky to have you.
Well, I think that's obvious, obviously, and we can be happy to do it. So anyone, obviously, get in touch with these guys. There is actually an Eventbrite link as well. Is that what you were just posting above up there, David, as well? So it's easier than ever as well to get involved with it, isn't it, as well?
It's so easy. There's a number of different packages. This is a great deal where you can bring people with, but we've had people take corporate packages. We've had people donate tickets. We've had people buy a ticket for somebody else. It just, whatever floats your boat. If you want to get involved, as all the proceeds are going to charity, we will talk to you, we'll listen to you, and we'll try and make a package available to you that works.
Can I just ask one little question? And obviously, given the nature of the charity, and this is true for so many charities, is it going to be really difficult to hear about the kind of feedback about this work? Because I'm guessing many people are going to obviously want to keep it very, almost confidential and everything else there. How are we going to hear the good deeds and the good work that obviously the trust is doing over a period of time? Is that a challenge in itself, or are we just hopeful that some people will be open enough to share their experiences?
I think we've been really lucky in that some of the people that we've helped have been happy for us to share their story, and they've actually become ambassadors for the organisation because they believe in it so much. So obviously not everyone is happy to have their story shared, but as we move through the different people that come forward and ask for help, and as we do support them, we often ask, would you mind us talking about, what's happened with you and how we've been able to help? And a lot of the time they say yes. So the more and the better, we will start to share, because it just people start to understand what we do then. I think for so long people were like, what is the Propertymark Trust? Like, what do you actually do? The more that we can share the stories of people that we help, the more that people get it, isn't it? So yeah, we will be feeding back on the success of the event, but not necessarily every single person that we help.
Well, Harry, as you know, and we've said it many times, is I have let's say a helicopter view of this stuff. It was with quite a lot of surprise when David pointed out to me that the Propertymark Trust wasn't a charity for dogs, because unfortunately, when Lauren obviously had that fantastic idea to bring along the dogs to the event, I just assumed obviously on the back of it. So I think we do need things like this, obviously, to educate it. So people like myself, and I admit I'm a unique demographic there, but the more we can hear about those stories, obviously it brings its life, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. On the day, Whaley, you're going to be, if you're not in floods of tears by the end of the day, then we've done something wrong.
I hate the idea that that's a metric that events start getting judged on. Have they made him cry yet?
It's not everyone, it's just you. We just want
you to... Yeah. Well, believe me, when I do that fire walking, that's going to be those tears are going to be real.
It's a great event, and I've got to say, I mean, as a little bit of an outsider from Propertymark, it's not just for Propertymark members. Get involved, come down and have a look at it, see some of the things. I mean, I dare say you might see this and go, that's a really great charity to have. I'd like to get more involved with Propertymark as a result of it. But this is not just for Propertymark members. Anybody can turn up on the day, do something good for other people. We are one family, and also take away all that inspiration.
But that's another great thing about Propertymark, widening their reach as well across the board and doing things like this, isn't it? So it's great to see the organisation doing that.
Spreading the tentacles of their power.
Look, I'm not going into those conspiracy theories. I've shot those down dead. Also, let's give a shout out as well to some of the others, because I didn't name them all. So you've got PropCall, PVS, obviously. There wouldn't be an event without those fellas, would it? Lettings Hub, Alan Boswell Group, and I think Rent Guarantor as well, one of the ones there. So we mentioned a few of those. Anyone we left out there? Because I know how these suppliers are if we don't name them.
Flatfare,
okay, cool.
Guest Solutions, Homebox, Agent OS. I think that's everybody.
So you've really got a lot of great support there, isn't there? That's absolutely fantastic. Well, look, I couldn't be more excited about doing it. Anything for anyone else? Is there anything else do we need to bring anything on the day, or just our good selves and our attention?
Well, Whaley, have you started planning your outfit yet? Because obviously that's always a highlight of every conference.
If I'm honest, I'm at the Manning Stainton, and I just do so much for charity I don't like to talk about. I'm the Manning Stainton Charity Golf Day, so I might just come down in my golf gear, which it's pretty much my conference gear anyway, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, fair.
Thank you. Right, well, look, brilliant. Can't wait. Look forwards to it, and I will. I'll be getting my questions ready, obviously, for all of the speakers.
I think all that's left for us to do is to say goodbye and to thank our wonderful guests for joining us this morning, and anybody from our usual audience that's not on the show already today for listening in. Thank you. And Whaley, I've got something that combines two of your favorite things in the world that can play us out. Would you like me to play it for you?
I think I would.
This is David Hasselhoff. Really hitting the high notes here.
With the Kerfuffle official theme tune.
Kerfuffle theme tune. Here you go.
Thanks, Dave.
neck is on the run. It's a new day, it's a new way, as they fly up to the sun. Come on!
Did you hear that? Almost, it was like Pavarotti. I didn't know that he had that range.
So look, everyone, I mean, this has only been unveiled today. If you want to see the Hoff at PropX in 2 weeks' time, performing that, there's a money back guarantee. If he doesn't show, I will give you the money back from that event there. Just find me on the day. I mean, this just doesn't get any better, does it?
I think it's the gift that keeps on giving, courtesy of Kerfuffle. Thank you very much, guys. Have a
Thank you all. Great luck with your run, Harry. I mean, crazy. I'm actually speechless.
And on that note.
On that note, thank you very much.